All right. Figured I'd mix it up a little bit today and check out an Oscar winner, which clearly this is. So we got Sharktopus. I'm sure most people know what that is, but in case you do not, well, it doesn't need. It's a Sharktopus. It's half shark, half octopus. Boom, there you go. That's the monster. That's the creature of the week. Whatever. Okay. So I think this is on the Sci-Fi Network or whatever. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's a TV movie, though, anyway, and it spawned a couple of ridiculous sequels that I have yet to see, but yeah, let's dive right into it. Spoiler alert, you have been warned. So, we start out on a beach with some girls on the beach. One of them goes out swimming, and you see the underwater view like in Jaws, where it's coming up, dun 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 dun, but there's not the music, but whatever. And fin, and then they start screaming, "Shark, shark!" And just as the shark's about to attack, these giant tentacles shoot up and grab the shark, and well, the shark is toast and is replaced by Sharktopus. Ba-ba! Anyway, that's our intro. Then we cut to a scene where we have our main characters. So we have Nathan Sands. He's a doctor, and he works with the military he created Sharktopus, which they call S11. So S11 is supposed to be this military creature that is unstoppable, because obviously a shark and an octopus, you put those together, you have an unkillable animal, clearly. With him, he has his daughter working on it. She did all the like genetic programming of this Sharktopus to make it like listen to commands and whatnot. They've got it wearing like a shock collar or whatever that can like control it and whatnot. So in the beach scene at the beginning, I guess they were testing it out because they controlled it to not attack the girl that the shark was going to attack. They made it swim off, and so that's proving essentially to this commander, who's I guess overseeing the S11 project, look at this, we got control. He wants to see more though, so he says, hey, there's like a civilian watercraft over there, send it over there. And they're like, okay. I just want to see, like, I want to see its like, not stealth, I guess, espionage capabilities. Can it remain undetected and still observe and whatever? And they're like, all right, sure, let's. Obviously, we built it to be like a killer shark octopus, but we can do that too. You can do whatever you want. We got this collar on it. What could go wrong, right? Well, this can go wrong. So the boat with the two civilians on it turns, ends up hitting the collar off of the Sharktopus S11, damages it. It comes off. They try to do a kill switch, which apparently they have like genetically implanted in its neural system to kill it. But the collar's already off. Too bad. Sharktopus is out in the wild. And yeah, he's gonna live his best life. So that's fun. They show two guys in another area, whatchamacallit, sorry. They show two guys that are like washing the side of a boat or whatever, and those are Sharktopus's victims, and it grabs them, and one of the guys is like, oh no, not like this. Meaning, of all the ways he could die, he doesn't want to die by a Sharktopus. He had that in his head. He knew that one day I may be faced with a situation where I will get killed by a Sharktopus, but I do not want that to be the way that I go. Well, sorry, buddy, that's the way you go. So, so obviously, Commander's not happy. So he says to Nathan and Nicole, basically, like, you guys, you gotta get your shit in gear. You're gonna go and get Andy. And they're like, oh, not Andy. So, backstory time. Nathan fired Andy. That's about all we get. I guess he was rough around the edges or something. Anyway, they don't get along. But he's the best man for the job, apparently. So they go get Andy, who's in Mexico at the time, too. So they go find him, and he's boozing it up with some women, Given that, certified badass vibe that we love in these kind of movies. Always with the women, always with the alcohol, partying up. He's in a pool with a sombrero, like, whatever. Anyway, they go get him, and he says, listen, I'll do it, but you know, I want some money. I want $300,000. And without any haggling whatsoever, Nathan pretty much just says, okay, but you only get it if we get Sharktopus back under control. And he's like, okay, sure. So that's great. Andy's on the team. Andy's buddy Santos comes along as well. So they're like buddies from back in the war, I guess. The war. I'm assuming it's the Gulf War, because at one point in the movie, Andy is flirting with Nicole, trying to hit on her by giving her a piece of shrapnel that was lodged into his body in Baghdad. I don't know why, but she wasn't like swooned by that. She wasn't swooning or won over by that. You know, there's no pleasing some women, right? But whatever. Anyway, so that's the whole thing. There's flirtation between these two here and there. A couple other kills we get. There's some people on jet skis or sea-doos or whatever you want to call them, and they're harassing this guy on a fishing boat. And the guy's like, what the hell, guys? I'm trying to fish. And they're like, ha ha ha, because, you know, there's always some assholes that have to get killed in these movies. And they do. Sharktopus takes all three of them out. Cool. We're also introduced to a news reporter by the name of Stacy and her cameraman, who we only know as Bones. I don't know what his real name is, but that's what he goes by. So that's Bones. So we got Stacy and Bones, and they're also in the area because they heard rumors of this Sharktopus that they're calling it. It's called S11, like the classified name, but everyone's just calling it a Sharktopus because what else is it, right? It's a fucking Sharktopus. So they're in the area, and they go find this dude Pez, who had tipped them off to seeing it, sent them pictures or whatever, and he's going to basically, after a little bit of coercing, is going to show them to the place that he saw it and help them track it, because they want the story of a lifetime. It's a Sharktopus. I mean, that screams like front page headline, right? So that's their little deal. And then we're also introduced very briefly to a somewhat inconsequential character by the name of Captain Jack, who is like a freelance radio host who has a little show from his boat with his friend, co-worker, temp, girlfriend, Steffi. Not girlfriend, actually, because she kind of shoots him down. But I don't know what her relation to him is, but they're on the boat doing their little radio show. Again, sort of inconsequential. He's reporting on the sights of the Sharktopus. Obviously, he doesn't expect it. He doesn't assume that it's real. He thinks it's ridiculous because, let's be real, it's ridiculous. This whole movie's ridiculous. But let's get into it, right? Anyway, he's not buying it, so he reports it and kind of laughs about it and whatever. There's a couple more deaths. A lot of the deaths are pretty standard, like basically just tentacles pulls him in the water and he bites them or whatever. There's one really good kill where there's this woman who the boyfriend is just trying his hardest to convince her to go bungee jumping, live a little, and she finally is like, okay, fine. And she does the bungee jump and goes down and comes back up. And she's like, okay, admittedly, that was pretty fun. And he's like, see, I told you. And she's like, I want to go again. He's like, wow, you badass. Anyway, we get the wonderful scene that became internet famous of her bungee jumping, and as she's going down, Sharktopus hop, bites the cord and eats her. So that was a good kill. The only other kill that was really good, I think he like bites someone in half by like grabbing them, and then he like rips someone's head off at one point too. So I mean, but most of the kills are pretty standard, I guess, for what you would expect a Sharktopus to do. So there's nothing too crazy like that. His tentacles have like sharp blades on the end of them, so a lot of like stabbing and stuff. Anyway, Stacy gets this call from her boss, I guess. She loses the story. They're sending someone else there, and she's like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna just do it anyway. And at the same time, we've got Andy, who is under the impression that Nathan might have been doing more with this Sharktopus, that's S11, sorry, whatever, that then he leads on, and Nicole's like, no, like, I programmed it. Are you trying to like say that my dad reprogrammed it to be like more vicious? And he's like, I don't know, man. Anyway, then we see the next scene basically where it's revealed that that's exactly what happened. So the commander calls him and they're talking about it, and that's basically essentially revealed. They don't want it harmed. So the goal is to trank it and to shoot it with a dart that will regain control of this creature through neural implants or something like that. So if you can control it with neural implants, I don't know why you needed the collar in the first place, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So that's the plan. So some more people die. The fishing boat that was attacked initially, or harassed by the jet ski people or whatever, is attacked and sunk like a kraken. You just see the tentacles come out. That was kind of cool, actually. Sinks the sailboat like a classic picture of a kraken coming up under the boat with tentacles wrapping around the mast and everything and just pulling it under and breaking it. That was cool. Yeah, the fisherman dude or whatever gets killed, but the girlfriend does not get killed because at the same time we have our heroes Andy and Nicole and Santos and a couple other guys. Oh yeah, there was like a diving expedition earlier that's kind of inconsequential as well, but Andy goes down with two generic, if they were in Star Trek they'd be wearing a red shirt, and they get totally smoked and he's the only one that survives. Anyway, that was like the first encounter, but oh boy. So yeah, they have some chum, like a bucket of chum, to lure it over, which they do. It doesn't end up killing the girlfriend of that boat that it just krakened, because it smells the chum, and it's like, oh, yummy, fish guts. Because, there's a whole other thing, too, where Andy catches on. I forgot to mention this, because he's like, listen, the Sharktopus S11, isn't acting like a shark. Sharks are not nearly this aggressive. It's not eating the food, and it's not acting like an octopus. Octopi are smart, they rely on stealth, and this thing's just out in the open doing whatever. So that's where he kind of thinks, like, what was your dad doing? Because I guess he knows that she programmed it a certain way or whatever, and it's not acting the way she programmed it. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. That's a whole other thing. Back to the main thing. Luring it in with chum, whatever. And it attacks the boat. Poor Santos gets it. Yeah, he gets pulled underwater, stabbed, eaten right in front of them. It tries to climb onto the boat, but Andy's like shooting at it with a machine gun. Oh, by the way, Nathan is in a separate boat further away from like Andy and Nicole's boat, so he's not there to witness everything, but he's dealing with this commander the whole time. And finally the commander calls back. He's like, listen, you know what, if you can't get this under control, I will send in a team to kill it. And Nathan's not having that. This is his creation, his baby, essentially. So he basically tells the commander to shut up and gets his little temp guy to turn the computer off. I don't know the guy's name. I think he lives, actually, though. Maybe he doesn't. I don't remember. He's so unmemorable, but he's been there from the beginning of the movie. He's there for the most of it. So anyway, I think he survives, maybe. Anyway, Pez also gets killed. So there's an attack where he's at the spot where the Sharktopus was initially seen, and it grabs their Volkswagen Beetle and pulls it over the cliff, and they narrowly escape, and they go into her van, and that's their new vehicle and whatnot. Anyway, they get onto a boat to follow the Sharktopus, and they notice, the others on the boat doing the same thing. So they're like, okay, this is a story right here. So they're on this boat. Pez gets it. I think he's just like sliced or something. I don't know. I don't remember. The deaths, like I said, not a lot of them are super memorable. The bungee jumping one was good. And I guess Santos, they put a little more effort into because he's like a secondary main character or whatever. So that was okay. Yeah. Anyway, so it tries to get it. It gets Santos, sorry, and then it almost gets Nicole, and he like shoots a machine gun that he has with him at it, and it swims off towards some resort in Puerto Vallarta. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's heading to the resort. So we get some resort attacks. It's fun. The beach, people getting eaten. There's some dance group that gets eaten. One of them valiantly tries to fight it off with one of their flaming... they're like fire dancers, and they try to fight it off with their little fire stick or whatever, but they get totally destroyed because it's a Sharktopus. You're not going to beat that. We've established Sharktopus is the extreme predator. Nothing in the world can kill it except for that little kill switch. So you can shoot at it all you want. You can poke it with a fire stick. You're not going to kill it. Anyway. Getting carried away here. Let's just get through the rest of this movie. So, basically they have a little confrontation. They meet up with Stacy and Bones, who had survived, and they're like, listen, you guys don't have a car, we have a van. You give us the story, we'll let you use the van. They're like, fine, because they got to get to this resort, right, that they saw it swimming to. Conveniently their boat dies as Sharktopus is swimming away, so they get it starting and it kind of like limps to shore, so they're way behind, right? Anyway, that's where they run into them. Okay, fine, you'll get the best story. You can't put any names in your story though. And she's like, well, what the hell do I get? And Andy looks back and he's like, you get exclusive footage of us shooting the shit out of Sharktopus. And they're like, all right, that's pretty good. So they head to this resort. Little Timmy is playing in the water. I don't know what his name is, but there's always a little Timmy, and he's almost attacked. And as the Sharktopus is ripping apart this resort, the mom's like screaming for Andy. Ends up saving the kid, which isn't under attack by Sharktopus. I guess he's just like in an area that he can't get back up or whatever, so he saves him. Hooray! Timmy's good, thank God. I was really invested in that character. Oh, then what happens? So yeah, then her dad Nathan confronts them basically, and he's like, "Listen, I need to make sure." Or yeah, he's on the way to confront them. Sorry, he's basically takes a gun, and they're like, "That's not going to be enough to stop Sharktopus." He's like, "Oh, it's not for S11, I should say." So what's he going to do? Shoot Andy, I guess. Well, apparently. So anyway, there's a confrontation between them, and Nicole stands up, and she's like, "No, Dad, Andy's right. This thing needs to die. Like, it's out of control." And he's like, yeah, I'm not letting that happen. No one's hurting this thing, not even you. And at the moment, you're like, oh my God, is he going to kill his daughter? Well, Sharktopus comes to save the day. Again, more deaths. Kills all of Nathan's gunmen, which he suddenly has, which he didn't have for the beginning part of the movie. I guess he just has disposable men everywhere. But anyway, they get taken down. And it grabs Nicole by the leg, and it's pulling her, and Daddy steps it up. And he does the whole self-sacrifice to save his daughter by shooting at it. And it gets him. Cuts his throat. And, yeah. Andy, I think, fires at it again, and it frigs off, and she's there, and Nathan's dying in his daughter's arms, and calls her Pumpkin or whatever, because he keeps calling her that, and she's like, you know, through tears, Dad, don't call me Pumpkin, or whatever, or something like that. I don't remember. It's like an ongoing thing where she doesn't like being called Pumpkin for whatever reason. Why would they put that in the movie, I wonder? I wonder if it'll come into play later. Yeah, it absolutely does. So, the plan is, I think my dad was trying to tell me something, she says to Andy. And Andy's like, oh, what's that? And she's like, you know, we have this kill switch in it, but it can only be activated by, you know, remotely from my computer, but you have to put a tracking dart in it. So he's like, okay, so what I got to do is I got to dart it and then lure it to you, and then you're shutting it down with your computer. Exactly. Boom. Okay, let's do that. And they start doing that. But it's password protected. Fantastic. So she's putting in like the most generic shit that like you wouldn't expect your dad to pick as a password. Like she puts like Sharktopus and Octo Shark. Like he's not going to use that as a password if that's the project, but whatever, it's fine. Anyway, lo and behold, password is Pumpkin. Fantastic. And Sharktopus explodes. And then they're like, oh my God, I better not jump out. And Andy's like, yeah, it only does that in the movies. And then the credits roll. Sharktopus. I mean, it's exactly what you think it's going to be. It's a Sharktopus, TV movie style, complete with the subpar CGI animation that's just good enough that you can get a laugh out of the stupid crap that's going on. Doesn't take itself too seriously. Excellent news, by the way. I think Steffi lives. You don't see her die, so maybe she's in one of the sequels. That's exciting. Andy lives, Nicole lives. Maybe they're in a sequel too. Bones is dead, by the way. I forgot to mention. Stacy has a little quarrel with him, and then later finds his blood and his camera on the ground, and then Sharktopus kills her too. So she's not coming back. Bones ain't coming back. Santos ain't coming back. Nathan ain't coming back. But perhaps those others will. And oh yeah, Captain Jack gets killed too. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not. But he does. He says something along the lines of like Steffi is like really concerned. Like, you got to warn these people. I know I'm jumping back like to something that happened way before the ending, but anyway, she jumps back. She's like, you got to warn the listeners. And he's like, all right. Warning everyone, there's a giant half shark, half octopus creature running amok, and it demands virgin sacrifices. So, send pictures of girls age 18 to 25, preferably directly to me, so we can get this going. Preferably nude. So he's a perv, clearly. But then he gets his comeuppance, so that's fun. Sharktopus jumps on his boat and eats him, and then frigs off, I guess. We don't know Steffi's fate, so we'll see. Very important character, very important scene. Boy, I hope she survived, because she played such a big part in this movie. Anyway, what am I going to rate this? Like, I mean, I don't know. You can't fail it, because it's so self-obvious. Like, Beaster Day was self-obvious too, but it was bad and it deserved a failure. This is I don't know, man. Put it middle of the road. I'm gonna give it a 5. That's what we're doing. 5 points. No, just a 5. Just a regular ass 5. It's fun, I guess. It's just stupid. Like, go in there knowing that it's gonna be dumb and you'll have a good time. Don't expect any deep, heartfelt moments or serious, crazy action scenes or like ridiculously creative kills, because you don't get that. The bungee jump one's good. Should you watch it? Yeah, sure. Why not? I think it's on Roku, Tubi, all those kind of like free streaming with commercial services. I am lucky enough to own a copy of this on DVD that I got for Christmas from a family member, so that was very exciting. And this was actually the first time I watched it not on TV, so I did put some use to that DVD. Anyway, that's Sharktopus. We're gonna leave it at that. A little bit shorter of a review finally. What are we gonna do next? Who knows? I've learned not to commit to episodes unless I'm doing a running series like the Terminator one, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and if you didn't, give me a dislike, please, and tell me why it was awful. Legit, I appreciate any kind of criticism too. Like, I know these reviews are garbage, so it's just a little fun thing that I want to do, and yeah, tell people what I thought of some movies. Rambling off the top of my head, like right now. This review should have ended probably like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 12 minutes ago, but it didn't, because here I am rambling. So we're gonna cut it right here. All right, later.